You're watching DIYNate. If you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to tell me about your project in the comments.
Okay friends, today on DIYNate, we are repairing my Icemaker. This is the video that started my whole YouTube channel originally when I figured out there's a better fix for the Icemaker problem that I was having originally, which was the water inlet valve. Today, however, it looks like it's time to replace the actual Icemaker. Diagnosed it several different ways. I've already tried a couple other repairs, and it looks like I'm gonna have to bite the bullet for the more expensive item. So what I've ordered the Maytag replacement for this. The correct recommended manufacturer's spec for this is the Icemaker W10882923. I believe that is the one that this Icemaker calls for now. That's what the manufacturer is recommending. I actually have a different model inside, slightly different version of this. So we're gonna try this one out. This Icemaker on the inside has actually failed on me now, it looks like twice. So I'm kind of hoping this is a better version of it. So we'll see how this goes. But just for point of reference, some of the troubleshooting I've already done includes having run a test here on this side to troubleshoot the Icemaker itself to see if I could generate a production cycle. Couldn't do that. The Icemaker was failing to do that. It wasn't filling with water, which normally leads me to believe it's either a filter problem or the inlet valve. However, I am getting water up here in the front, as you can see. If I pull this over here, I'm getting water. So I'm getting water there, which also tells me something else is wrong on the inside. So we've already replaced the inlet valve, so I'm gonna go ahead and try and fix this. We'll go from there. Let's get to it. All right, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and open it up. And for those wondering what model this is a MFI2665XEM7 refrigerator. It has had some Icemaker problems, so this is kind of one of those major problems that seems to be plaguing this refrigerator, certainly mine anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and take the Icemaker out first. Push the button in on the side, pull it out, and you should be able to get that guy out of there pretty easily. Once that's out, you'll probably notice you don't have any ice in there. Next up, this is where it gets a little more challenging, but if you know you're replacing the Icemaker, one of the things I like to do is test to make sure that there's no water in here. So I'm reaching in, I'm feeling in between the fingers. I can feel it's bone dry in there. It's cold, but there's no ice in there or no liquid either. So I know that that's gonna be a problem for me. So for this part, I've had to work a little bit on this many times, so it's a little easier for me to do than probably others. So for me, mine, I can just kind of pull it apart and get this little plastic piece off. You'll probably have to use a screwdriver to get in there. And then you got that harness that needs to come out. And again, this harness is a little bit challenging. Really, it usually takes a flathead screwdriver right up there on the side. You take a flathead and push that in while you're squeezing on the outside there of the. So here I'm going to try and reach in here, pull this cord down, and then I'm getting my hands on the side here, and it's hard for even me to be able to get to it. See if I can get my screwdriver up there. So really, I'm trying to push this to separate it, and there it goes. So it's separated just like that. I pushed that middle piece, pushed down a little bit on the sides, and it separates. So the other thing with this Icemaker is that this is the old Icemaker, and I've tried jumping it as well. There's a process where you can take the T and H and take a little piece of wire and put it in between, and it'll jump the cycle. And when I tried that with this Icemaker particularly, it didn't jump, so that also told me my Icemaker was probably dead. So really hoping the Icemaker is the fix with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this Icemaker out now, and I've tucked the wire up on the side here so that the Icemaker can slide by. And really from this point, all I'm gonna do is just, there's a little tab here. Come in here and just separate that. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and pull the Icemaker out. We've separated the tab, just pulling it out. You can see it starts to come out fairly easily at that point. The whole Icemaker contraption comes out. Now that we've got this ready to roll, we're gonna take this, we're gonna separate the Icemaker, and we're gonna see how well it does with the new Icemaker. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take our new Icemaker and box out. Got my knife to pull this out. This is a pretty easy change out. I'm optimistic this is gonna be an easy process, but I guess we'll find out. This one, I'll leave a link to the description on how to order a similar version of this. It may not be the exact model. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna pop this guy. We got the two segments here, and we need a cord. There's our cord right there. That should hook in. Ideally, it fits this cable nicely. They've also given me some instructions here. Take a quick look at these. Okay, this particular model is calling for me to take the H terminal off, which is, I believe, this little plastic piece on the front here. So we're gonna go ahead and undo this guy. And we're gonna see if it's the bell here or not. Pull that guy off, take this piece out, and then the question is gonna be whether or not this guy is gonna fit on the new Icemaker. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and disassemble the old Icemaker, get this out of here because we know this one's no good. And right now I've got my screwdriver that's got the open end there to handle the nuts that come out of here. So there are 3 screws that need to come out to remove the Icemaker. There's also a connection, electrical connection, that we're going to want to separate as well while we're doing this. So we'll pop these guys off of there. And this one's a little more complicated than what I was expecting because there's a little bit of wiring involved. I've got to cut off a piece of this H wire and then make an adapter between it, but it seems like it should be pretty straightforward. I just wasn't expecting that. I was hoping it was going to be a little more plug and play, but this version particularly, it looks like it's got a little bit of complication to make that work. There we go. All 3 screws are out there, and they've got this one connection right here that we need to separate so we can get the clamp out of there. And so I'm going to take my flathead screwdriver here. There we go. That should come out of there without a problem. And we're good. And then really at this point, the whole Icemaker unit should just attach nicely. And we're out. So Icemaker is done. Separate that to the side there. All right, now the big thing that this Icemaker suggests is if your connection goes directly into this, which I think it is going to, they've got an adapter already built on this. So if these two go together, which they do, then you know you're probably gonna have to use this H connector for rewiring purposes, because I don't believe it's gonna allow this current H connector to fit in place. It would block it or jam it. This current H connector is not gonna let it do its thing because it just doesn't have the room to do it. And of course they give you instructions on what to do and how to do it.
This particular kit here, this connector here, which I think they call the H terminal connector, is going to need to be cut out because it won't fit correctly without causing an impact to the rotating arm. So I'm going to have to sub in this piece that they send. It's a nice little kit. Unfortunately, I was hoping to avoid having to do any electrical wiring myself, but it looks like I am going to have to take that one on myself real quick here. So basically, all we're going to do, we're going to cut this wire right here, taking off the old H connector, and this keeps you from having to redo the whole wiring harness. I'm going to use some wire strippers. I'm going to strip about 1/4 inch of the wire off. I'm going to run that into this insulated butt connector splicer. So we're going to put that in the insulated butt connector splicer, and then we're going to run a piece of electrical tubing over top of it. We'll use a heat gun to seal that on there, and then that should give us the wiring we need to get everything running correctly. So we're going to go ahead and jump to it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece off here, leaving myself a little bit of room on both ends so that if I ever need to come back and rewire that together, I can still do that. Cut it right there. Now I'm going to strip off just a little bit of that wiring, about 1/4 inch. I'm using a pair of wire strippers here to give me enough room. There we go. So now you can see this guy, the wire is separated, and I'm going to run it into that butt connector, and I'm going to push it in as deep as I can get it, hopefully, right there. I'll crimp it in just a second once I get my other piece. All right, so now we're just taking our other piece here, and we're going to go ahead and open that up just a little bit more to give ourselves a little bit more in there that we can work with. Not leaving too much on there. That might be a little more than I need, but I'm actually going to clip off a little bit on the end here. Okay, so all things considered, this is a pretty easy fix here. We are basically taking this wiring and wrapping it into the insulated butt connector, or whatever you want to call it. I need to put this plastic sleeve over it. Push this back in there, make sure we get a good connection. Both sides are going to give us enough connectivity, and that should be good. We gotta crimp it. That side's pretty well crimped. That side's crimped, so we should be getting good connectivity on both sides, making sure we can't pull it apart. Now we're going to pull this guy over top of both. And it says to use a lighter or some other type of thing. I'm actually going to use my heat gun here. Got a Wagner heat gun right here. And this could be used for a lot of things, but one of the places you often use a heat gun is with an Icemaker, oddly enough. More for loosening the ice. And so we're just going to go ahead and heat that up. pretty good. And just like that, and a little warm. But we are now sealed and ready to roll. Now that I've got the wiring connected, I should be in good shape here. And then simply taking this wire and hooking him up to hit the right marks. Just like that. The latch is in place there, ideally. There we go. And now we are all set. With this wiring, I'm going to pull this back as well. It's a little bit difficult to get these wires tucked in just the way you want them, so I'm okay letting that kind of rest on the back side here, out of the way of all the other wiring. And when I stick this in the fridge, I should be in good shape now, and the wires don't fit nicely into the places that I'd like them, so I'm kind of having to manipulate around that a little bit. That should give me enough room. I can just put this plastic cover on top without disrupting anything on the front side. And now my ice maker is back up and looking good. I needed to take this part. I'm gonna go ahead and take this plastic piece off. I should have put this arm back on originally. I forgot to, so I'm doing that now. A little bit tough to get it out of that. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna put this piece back on there. Okay, and then we're gonna come behind this guy. Again, pop that guy in there, working through that. There we go, now we're on track. Snap this guy back into position, get that arm well set up. All right, so that's our little flapper there. And I'm gonna go up into that top slot. So push that one in position. Let's go. But I think we're in good shape now, so we're gonna go ahead and load that in and have our fingers crossed that this works out well for us. So we're ready to put our ice maker in. It's ready in full effect. I've got the switch up so that when I put it in there, doesn't kick right on right away. And I will push that back down before I finish. And I've got my wires out of the way, my harnesses and everything. Trying to make sure all pieces are lined up as they should be. That should get me go right in place here. Making sure we're lined up. Just about right. There we go. Now just pushing them on in. Ideally, it'll snap right into place. Everything will be good to go. Pull this back and hopefully we'll hear our ice maker fire up. So we'll go ahead and take this guy down. So we're making ice right away, hopefully. And fingers crossed. If I've done everything right, we should hear everything start back up. There we go. We're up and running. If things go well, our ice maker will be running smoothly and everything will be as designed. Now, putting everything back together. We got our fingers crossed everything works smoothly, so we'll check back in a couple hours and see if we got the ice maker working, but I hear the sounds I want to hear. So we've swapped out our ice maker. We've got all the parts and pieces back in place, and now we're going to test it. Moment of truth. We got it. Just like that, we got a fresh set of ice. The ice maker repair has worked. So I'm really excited to have replaced this ice maker. Feel good that it's working nicely, and hopefully these instructions help you in replacing your ice maker. So that is how you replace your ice maker. This version was a W10882923. If you're looking for this specific model to replace your ice maker, feel free to check that out in the video link description below. You can buy a variety of different ice makers for your Maytag or whatever brand fridge you're working on. And good luck to you. I hope it works well for you. I know I love my ice. You feel like you're going through a very tough time when you don't have ice in your house. So certainly appreciate you watching this. Hopefully you had the success that I had of changing your ice maker and now you're up and running. I'm thrilled to have a fresh cup of ice now and very excited that we're gonna have ice in our house once again. So again, thanks for watching DIYNate and have a great day.